Hi there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 2715 of What You Up To Now. She being Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, my initials. I document my journey on this segment. I talk about lessons learned, the good, the bad, the ugly, things that worked out well that I tried as I came from the offline world to the online world, from offline businesses to online businesses and both, and then working with literally thousands of different businesses over decades to help them grow and build and supersize. Well, today we're talking about, and all this month we're focusing on mental health and well-being as part of the 9-part life framework that I share with everybody who will listen: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, communication, and confidence. Why? Because I don't know about you, but a long time ago, I realized life was crazy. And if I didn't find a way to set it up in my favor, I was just at the will and whim of what happened to me, what other people expected me to do, etc. And it didn't always feel good or right. And so I decided I was going to come up and find a structure. And I went on a little personal development journey. I've been on a personal development journey since I was a teenager, probably 18, 19 years old. And, went to college. That was part of my growth in personal development, and had a bunch of experiences, and then joined the corporate world. And while simultaneously working in the corporate world, owned and operated and ran and was part of a bunch of different businesses. And then finally got to the point where it's like, okay, really, why am I hanging out in corporate anymore? I've learned what I need to learn and want to learn from here about how these things are structured and how things work. So now I can just go do my own things. And that's what I started doing. And instead of just working for other people's businesses, just owned my own, which is a lot more fun, a lot more control, a lot more fun. So today we're talking about different conscious levels of our mind. There is, of course, a graphic that goes along with this with my awesome artwork. So we've got the superconscious, the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. And today we talked about in a little bit more detail the unconscious and conscious mind. I shared an example of Carlos and how our unconscious mind, we can be clicking along thinking that we're really conscious and doing great. And we are doing great, but we'll get flashes of or bouts of anxiety, depression, or any other negative emotion. And that is a sign to us that there's something going on that we need to figure out so we can clear that away, deal with that, heal from that, and move on. And the unconscious mind is where things like childhood trauma or other traumas or dramas happen to us that we don't address. We just shove down so far that we aren't even aware that they're there anymore. We do that in our personal lives. We do that in our businesses. We do that in our families. We do that in our social groups. And it always comes back to haunt. It doesn't, well, I think I can say always in this case. It almost always, and it's never at the time we think it's going to happen, rears its ugly head and something happens and blows up. Or something that seems totally unrelated blows up. That's why a lot of times our marriages blow up, or our other relationships blow up, our friendships, because there's unresolved things that just never get dealt with. So I talked about what our conscious mind is, why it matters to us, and why it's important for us both individually and as business owners and builders. And then we talked about the unconscious mind, and thank you for that, and all of the things that it does for us. Not the hiding dramas and traumas and childhood experiences or things that we need to deal with that we just don't want to deal with, but for all of the automatic processes that it actually runs. We think that, I like to think that the unconscious mind is kind of sleeping, but it's really not. It's really probably one of the busiest parts of our conscious, because we don't have to be aware of it, but it's doing all the things that we need in order to survive. It manages our heartbeat. It manages all of our bodily functions, blinking, breathing. What if you had to think about your heart beating or breathing on a conscious level? You never get anything else done, because all your conscious mind, and it's only 10% of our consciousness, it would all be tied up doing those bodily functions. So today I challenge each group to be mindful and intentional and grateful for all of the things that the unconscious mind does for us. And again, then we will address with the superconscious and the subconscious tomorrow. How do we get at integrating all 4 parts of our mind and our conscious levels so that we can optimize and create the life we want and the businesses that we want and be a great example for other people. All right, that's all I've got today. It is the 4th of July weekend, as adorned by my She Shed sign. My granddaughter decided I needed a whole bunch of necklaces, and this is just a sampling of them, so I hung them up for a little bit more of a birthday celebration USA vibe this week. I suppose I'll keep them up this week or so. We'll see. Usually I do a 4th of July backdrop, but super busy and just didn't get to changing it before July 1st. And so I thought, I can just go with what I've got because it doesn't really matter. All right. If I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask. Otherwise, make it an amazing day, an amazing weekend, and I'll, of course, see you tomorrow.